Hi guys, I'm Sasha. Thanks for joining me. Today I wanted to show you how the Viking art that I carved last week, how it turned out. With the pressed flowers is what I decided to put in there, like this. So I just used pressed flowers instead of going with like a print or something like that. I felt like it would go better with the Viking style. So stick around and I'll show you step by step the finishing process. Because this originally had hooks in it, we've got some holes. Got some rather large ones, 3 of the large ones, and then several of the smaller ones. So I'm going to need to use some wood fill, but in order to hopefully get a better result, I am going to put a little bit of a wooden peg that I cut, this little guy, and I'm going to put this with some wood glue in there just to take up some of the space, because that's a large space for wood filler to fill up and then expect it to not crack or shrink or anything like that. So I'm going to do that first. Try to get all the wood glue I can out, just because it's harder to sand glue than it is to sand wood fill. Let that dry and then I'll hit this with some wood filler. While I'm waiting for the glue to dry in those pegs, I'm going to go ahead and start to put some wood filler into the smaller holes. I just have a wooden skewer here. I thought that might help get it down in there, but I don't know, we'll see. Now that my glue has been drying for a while, I'm gonna go ahead and start filling these larger holes. I have special walnut from Minwax. I'm ready for my polyacrylic is what I'm using, water-based. And I'm not going to use a sponge brush this time, just because it'll get all bubbly in these small areas, so I'm just going to use a brush. Now, because I don't have anything to put behind the flowers, and this is the back that's going to be behind the flowers, I wanted something a little more, you know, had a little more style to it, but I also wanted to stay with that old Viking style. So I wasn't sure what to do. I found this scrap of burlap at Hobby Lobby, And so I got this, and I am going to Mod Podge this onto the back. And then we'll go my pressed flowers and then the plexiglass on top of that. I'm just gonna start in the center here. That way, if I have stretching and things like that, it'll stretch evenly out toward the edges. And I flipped it upside down, and I'm just going to trim the edges with an X-Acto knife. Since this is burlap and it pulls apart very easily, I'm just running a thin line of Mod Podge just right around the edges to seal those edges. So here are my first flowers I'm going to try. As you can see, these petals are much shorter, and when we press it like that, you won't be able to see that difference. So I am going to pull these front petals here so that we can see a few different lengths. Okay, so I'll put that one that way. All right, once I get it the way I want it, I'm going to get another piece of parchment paper and another book and just press them. Do this part gently. I wanted to add some more color, so I've got these. This is just some greenery that I wanted to add. So I'm just kind of spreading it out a little bit on my parchment paper. And I think that's about all I can do on that one. This is my piece of acrylic plexiglass, I guess you would call it, that I ordered from Amazon. I think I paid $20 for 4 pieces, but I need to cut it down to size, which they say that you can do. I'm just going to use a jigsaw. I have marked out my spot where I want to cut. There's only 2 lines because the first line was wrong and I had to redraw another line. There's no fancy reason why I have 2 lines. It's just me making a mistake. Now I need to attach my flowers to the board on the back. I have my glue gun, and I'm just going to try to stick with small dots to get them to stay put. and try to make them not noticeable, because the glue gun glue does, you can see it when it dries. It doesn't dry completely clear. Now that my clear coat is dry, I went ahead and put the plexiglass pieces in, and now I'm going to hopefully flip this into place without losing any flowers. It's a little tight around the edges because that Mod Podge dried where I, put the edged it with the Mod Podge so it wouldn't fray, but it's very crisp. So I'm kind of having to force it, and I'm just going to secure it with a staple gun. Make sure I'm in the right place. So I hope I've inspired you to keep in mind when you go to a secondhand store that you can change something completely from the way that it looks in the store. Refinish it, carve it, you could do wood burning, painting, and then completely something different, like putting the pressed flowers in where they had the fabric panel and the chalkboard. So I hope you enjoyed that. I know I did. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.